All right, it's working now. All right, so I meant to be live with some friends, and my Zoom wasn't working. My audio was messed up. My login wasn't working, so here I am recording. Um, just me here and trying to reach out to you all out there in the ethers. Back working with the sixth and seventh chakra, sixth and seventh, right? So our six has to do with light and how we perceive the world and our consciousness, how we manifest. Um, all the work we've done up until this point. So grounding through the root chakra, tuning into our emotions, allowing ourselves to feeling the fire in our belly and our energy and our passions, connecting that to our heart and our throat, and all that work from the feet up to our head kind of leads us up to this connection to the divine. So, how we talk to ourselves is also, I mean, that's kind of part of communication, but it's also uh, uh, our thoughts, I guess. That's considered our thoughts. And um, if you think about it, our thoughts truly are also our prayers. How we talk to ourselves in our mind is important. I know that right now, um, there's so many young people that are empowered and speaking up, our Black youth, so moving to see during these protests, so many strong, passionate young men and women speaking their truth. And I feel like there's a lot of other, the allies, the white allies, trying to say the right things, but it's abstract, dealing with racial injustice when you're white, and you can't really empathize. And so the fact that people are kind of waking up and looking within in a really big way right now, I think is really important. And I don't think that, I do believe white privilege is a thing that truly exists, but that for the ones that are trying, to say the right thing and to be supportive, I'm also seeing a lot of shaming going on, and I just don't quite understand it. Like, I don't think that's really helpful. Um, so, how we talk to each other is also important. Um, but right now, there's this huge movement and opportunity to really change some things on the planet, really move forward, um, and move into the world that we want to visualize. So rather than saying my own prayer, I'm going to chant the Hindu chant Aratis, to honor the divine light. First, I'm going to use this wonderful sage smudge that I got from my neighbor and friend Margaret. I've never seen this red sage like this. It looks like it was shaken with something on top of it. And normally when I sage or use herbs, I'm a minimalist and I just take a little tiny leaf and it goes a really long way. But there is so much negative energy that needs to be moved through. There's a lot of pain that needs to be moved through. This whole meditation tonight is about going deep, deep within so that we can, kind of gold mine our shadows, as my teacher Pixie Lighthorse likes to say, and pick out the gems. It's like if you have gold and you're shifting it or sifting it rather, because all of our suffering that we've experienced, all the pain, our own walk of life around that moon has made us who we are today. And it's a part of us and it's an important part, and we want to honor it. So I'm going to go ahead and light this whole bundle. And that's for anybody that's joining in on the meditation. I usually like to, when I'm saging or smudging, I like to kind of motion towards my mind, my heart, my stomach, and usually with like 4 times, 4 waves to cover all the chakras, the system. So I have an altar of light here that I made. I don't know if it's kind of got a lot of crystals on it, so I'll try to show you. And anybody can make an altar at any time, right? So the idea of a puja ceremony is, lighting your candle or your fire and experiencing that light as the divine, as the creator. So once you've lit your flame, you can really invite the divine, however you relate to it. We all have our own connection. Each and every living being has a connection to the divine. And so you can welcome in the divine that is represented by the light to actually be manifested within the light. And so that way we can communicate and we can speak our peace and our sorrows and our grief directly to the creator instead of something really abstract out there somewhere, really looking at the light, feeling the divine spark manifested within that light. One of the most powerful prayers I've experienced, and I've heard a lot of really amazing ones from my elders, but something that for me, who might not be so eloquent, I once had a relationship with a good friend of mine, and it just wasn't working out between the two of us. It's been many years now since we kind of parted ways, but it was very difficult. She was a part of my soul, and it was like having a divorce almost. I've never been through a divorce. I've been happily married, but that's what it felt like having to get her out of my system completely. And the thing that worked for me, I tried everything. I tried visualization and cutting cords and writing in my journal and speaking to her directly. And all of these things that I tried helped, but I found the Ho'oponopono prayer. I might have added a couple panos on there, but the Hawaiian prayer, you can look it up. And it's been simplified to, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And so I didn't really even think about it, but every time I could remember, I would just say Ho'oponopono, Ho'oponopono, in my garden, pulling weeds, cooking Ho'oponopono, Ho'oponopono. And I really wasn't thinking about what it meant. I just was like, well, I'll try this, because I was willing to try anything to help me stop being so connected to her that she was like overwhelming and in my thoughts all the time. And one day I was saying that prayer in my garden, and I felt this divine grace kind of enter my being, and I felt forgiveness, and I felt my own forgiveness for myself and my faults and the things that I was guilty of and responsible for. And I also felt forgiveness towards her. And just like that, it was amazing. And so with all that's going on, each and every one of us has, whether we are, our ancestors have trespassed against others or we have been trespassed against. If you look back in almost all of the cultures, if you go far back enough, there's a lot of pain and a lot of suffering, some worse than others. So Ho'oponopono covers all of your ancestors and all of their trespasses to anybody ever in thought, word, or deed towards each other. And that is meant to kind of clear the slate. So that's a very powerful one. This puja ceremony, getting back to the puja ceremony, so once you've lit your candle and you've invited the creator to be represented in that light, you can offer your candle water. So I can't keep my altar lifted, it's very heavy, so you can just kind of like take it, if you have a scent like the sage, and I'll use this. And then, you know, just kind of motion and put your intention into the sage or water. You can offer to the divine, flowers, seeds, sound, your words, and I'll just say the chant now. Actually, I'm going to drink a little water too. Jyoti 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 Swayam Jyoti 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 Param Jyoti 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 Aru Jyoti 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 Shivam Yama Jyoti Soma Jyoti Ana Jyoti Ana Jyoti Maha Jyoti Yoga Jyoti Vata Jyoti Nada Jyoti Ema Jyoti Vyoma Jyoti Eru Jyoti Veru Jyoti Eka Jyoti Eka Jyoti Eka Jyoti Jyoti E. Light, oh light of self-effulgence, light, oh light of absoluteness. Light, oh light of gracefulness, light, oh light of auspiciousness. Light of Shiva, light of moonlight, divine light of wisdom. Light of heaven, light of yoga, light of wind, light of sound. Light to light, light of water, rising light, vital light. The only light, give us light, oh light of lights. So now we're going to begin our meditation. So you can begin to get comfortable. We have the light of the divine present here with us as our guide. So you can do seated meditation with the feet grounding into the earth, or lay down and get comfortable. Give you a moment to do that. Now, as you begin to deepen into your relaxed state of being, you can take a moment to contract all the muscles along your body, starting with your legs, your buttocks, your arms, your abdomen, maybe clenching fist, squeezing your fist, and contract all of those muscles. And then expand them, letting go, surrendering, exhaling. And then one more time. What is happening on our planet with our president is that we are in a very deep state of contraction. At that same time, we're also in a very deep state of expansion right now. So allow yourself to embody that with your inhalation and exhalation. With the exhalation, you're expanding your lungs. With your inhalation, expanding your lungs, your heart, your abdomen. As you exhale, contracting all of that in towards your spine. Following your breath into your body as a tool to bring you into the present moment. into the right now. And then you're going to imagine your own self as a spark of light. That spark of light, the candlelight, the moonlight, the sunlight that we've just honored as the divine. You are made of that. You are made of starlight. When we look up at the stars at night, they're not trying to be the light, they just are. And so are you. And so just feel the light expanding again. And then in many of these meditations, we've asked for our allies to come in, different animals, gods and goddesses, the elements as our allies, flowers, the stone people. But I want you to now feel into your heart and feel into your very own medicine. That your very own being is medicine for other people. And so rather than going on a journey looking for our allies right now or asking for our allies to be with us, we are going to be an ally for somebody else. We are going to be an ally to those of us who need to go like Persephone into the underworld. For those of us who need to delve deeply into our subconscious mind, going deep, deep down to awaken the truth that we are all one and that we are all connected. Maybe even imagining yourself holding Persephone's hand so that she's not afraid to enter down into the underworld. Because as we are turning over these stones and exposing the deep, dark underbelly of our world right now, the one that has always existed since the time of, civilizations coming together and people trying to dominate one another. We've just somehow come all this way and been able to look away. We've been able to be okay with what's happening. Maybe some of us aren't, and we haven't been okay, but we haven't known what tools to use or how to help. But right now, as a humanity, we are being asked to keep our vision and keep our focus on the injustices that are happening in our world, in our country, North America, all around the world. So feel yourself again as the guide. What would your ally do right now? Your ally is just ready and waiting for you at any moment that you are needed. So maybe just like that starlight that's in the sky, just shining its light, be available. Allow yourself to shine out your shanti, your peace, your love, your compassion, and your understanding to those in need right now. Imagine the piece of medicine that is you as a seed. You've rooted down into the earth. Through those roots, you're able to pull up vital energy allowing yourself through your blood to connect to your emotions. That flower, as it shoots out its stems and feels the sun pulling it up through the earth, feeling the water through its roots, begins to grow tall, growing out of your trunk, your root system and your trunk, feeling your passion, feeling your heart, and then what is it that you would like to communicate to the world today? What is the world that you really want to be living in? What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it smell like? You can imagine yourself as that seed sprouting out, and then through your crown, you get to decide what kind of bloom, the lotus flower, the peony, what is the beauty that you are going to create, and who are you going to be in this world? How are you going to help? How are you going to be a part of the solution? Consider yourself again as that starlight, as that guide. Maybe there are children out there in need. How can we be medicine for the children? The ones that are going to be creating our world next. With everything that's going on, they might have to create some virtual realities. What do we want to see in that reality? Do we want that even to happen? Do we want to go virtual? Or do we want to be able to walk outside and look under the stars, smell the fragrances, listen to the birds, which are singing outside my window? So I'm going to stop drumming for just a moment, staying in the meditation. So I'm going to take a moment to now actually call in the allies. Call in all of your allies, your animals, your plant allies, maybe the sounds. What does that mean? Ally, friend, protector, helper. And whoever shows up for you, thank them. Could be, the eagle or the bear, or the big cats, those power animals. Or it could be something meek and humble, beautiful moth, an ant, the insect kingdom. Whoever it is, whether it is of this world or not, it could be an ancestor, the little people, the fae. We each have our own spiritual guardians. And so we're inviting our personal spiritual guardians in right now to stand behind us. And then we're going to ask them to join us now to go back in time into our very own personal past, walking behind us, giving us their strength and their love. And we're going to see ourselves as we were as children. Because when we came into this world and we were born, we did not see color of skin as something that separated one another. So there was a time that in our childhood that each of us either had to kind of split with our identity, when we realized that people saw us as different, or when we realized that we saw each other as different. We're going to ask those allies to join us and to help us find the piece of us that was lost in that moment, that split that happened, and replace it into our hearts, into our minds, into our being. And so that we can hold on a little bit longer, maybe even to our parents as well. Maybe they were part of where we learned to see each other and how we identified. Maybe we were shamed, maybe we were guilted in a way that it was just easier to follow their ideas and their perspectives than follow our own. And so then we're going to continue on our path, and you can see yourself growing in your house as a child. And then find an image of yourself as a teenager. Maybe this is when you were away from your parents and you had an experience with peers or others. And, maybe it's when you were being mean or you were being a victim of being bullied. Because either way, there were pains and tears in your being when that started to happen. And again, the allies are there with you by your side to help you. Maybe even, giving you some needle and thread to help sew up those tears that were created. And then whether you are young or old, you can follow on into your future self or your past self. So if you're older, going back into your adulthood, maybe you've had children now, or if you're younger, seeing your future self as a middle-aged person, whether you want to have children or not. See the person that you really want to be. Times that you regret not standing up for your truth or for one another. And you can imagine again that this beautiful golden waterfall of your light beings behind you, circling around you. Again, they know that you're sorry. They offer you forgiveness. They love you and they thank you. And then see yourself as an elder, last phase of your life. And see your loved ones around you. Be with them in your imagination and in your meditation in the way that you want it to be for yourself. People are happy and they're smiling and they're laughing and they're remembering your amazing life on earth. They're remembering your kindnesses. They're remembering your love and they're saying thank you for all the wisdom that you have given them, all the support that you have given them. And then you can go even further past into your death. And see that as a beautiful transition. That flower, the seed that we grew into a flower that represented our being. The light, the divine spark. It only goes out for just a moment after death. The light actually never really goes out, but once the breathing stops and the heart stops, the consciousness continues on. Imagine again yourself merging with the light, going back into the arms of your Creator, being welcomed home. And then you can go even further still, considering whether you would like to, like the Buddha, how far are you going to go? How many times are you going to come back to help other people? Will it take as many times until everybody is enlightened? Maybe you just want to come back. Maybe this will be the last time. Many, many lifetimes, maybe yet. But if you can envision that far ahead, see the world evolving, see the shift in human consciousness. You can go back as far into your past lives as well, learning from them. What were the things that did not work? I mean, we can just even look now into our present moment that there's so much not working. What are the paradigms? There's an imbalance between the masculine and the feminine. Imagine if we had been raised in a world where those were equally respected within our own individual bodies, whether we're male or female, in our families, in our institutions. So really taking a moment, whether it's a point in your past, a point in your present, or a point in your future, life right now, lives, to feel the light of love and what it would mean if we could all feel that at all moments and live into that. There's a teaching that, the police brutality has been around for forever, really, since the system. And people have been fighting against it, and people have also been looking away. And things are getting really uncomfortable for a lot of people, and that's good, a lot of things moving through. But at all times, not just right now, all times, there's a scale kind of with a bucket of light and a bucket of darkness. And if you go to the bucket of darkness, you can get stuck there and drowned in the in the child pornography and Native American women being murdered and kidnapped, and immigration, what's happening on our borders, and the school shootings and animal cruelty and all of those things, all of those horrible, horrible things that humans are capable of. And so the world is not all about love and light, but we have to return to the light often enough that we can take a piece of it and bring it back into that bucket, bring the scales back to order. So, we can reach out our hands and carry the light within our hearts and pull one by one somebody out of that bucket of darkness back over to the light. And some of us have different capabilities and boundaries and ability. Some of us are the frontline fighters, willing to get bullets, willing to bleed, willing to die even. And some of us are not. And you have to decide who you are, what your boundary is, how you're capable of helping the world better itself. And be okay with that. Be okay for being able to offer what you can, and thank you for that. Thank you so much. Thank you especially to all of those healthcare workers, and especially to the firemen who are running towards a blazing fire when everybody else is running the opposite way. Thank you towards, the protesters and the Black Lives Matter and Native Lives Matter. And thank you to the policymakers that have entered this corrupt system, the good ones that are in there really trying to make change and policy for people to better this planet. But thank you to, the people unseen as well. The ones that are quietly adopting, animals that are about to be put down, the ones that are, donating their part of their paycheck that barely feeds their family to food shelters. And, there's so many ways to be of service, so many ways to help. And so, whatever it is within our beings that wants to judge and shame one another, that has to end, because our thoughts are our prayers. The vision that we are able to create in our mind with our thoughts, bring down, speak out loud, feel in our hearts, that's what's going to manifest a better world. So one last moment, hand over your heart. Breathing in, breathing out. Feeling yourself in the altar, into the temple of healing. One more time, engaging with the divine, the light of the divine, asking for that egg of light and protection to enter into your system. It's always there. It's always accessible. It's just that we forget. We get distracted. We become afraid. So invite it in. Welcome the light to grow inside of you. Allow actually the light that's already there just to shine brighter. And then exhaling all the stress and the pain and the suffering out of your system. We all have work to do. We all have to look at our shadows. We all have to look back into our ancestorhood. And even if we are, saints in this world, it's good to know where you came from. It's good to know the parts of your lineage that still may need healing. Be the healer in your lineage. By standing for love and standing for light and standing for truth. Being able to shine that light on the injustices and bring the light forward. So one last inhale and exhalation. You can just even imagine like a waterfall of light bathing over your entire body, healing from head to toe. On the top of your crown, the lotus, 1,000-petaled lotus flowers opening, growing towards the sun. Merging with your divine self. And that is my husband blowing his nose in our outdoor shower. So that might have woken you up out of your meditation. Yeah. so you can come out. And then finally, take a moment to make one commitment to that divine light, one action, actually, whether it is to contribute money or protest or hand out flyers or information or post something positive that's not going to shame anybody or make anybody feel wrong, but going to educate them in a positive way. Make that commitment to yourself. Make that commitment to your higher self. And then take a moment to honor the divine light that resides in all living beings once again. And I honor you. Thank you. Namaste. Oops.